Let me tell you about two guys I know. Same age, same city. They even grew up in the same neighborhood. One of them makes $95,000 a year. The other makes $52,000. Now, if I asked you which one has more money in the bank, you'd probably say the first guy, right? Higher salary, better savings. Obvious answer, you'd be wrong. The guy making $52,000 has 8 months of expenses saved, invests a chunk of every paycheck, and genuinely doesn't stress about money. The guy making $95,000 is 2 missed paychecks away from not being able to cover rent. Not because of bad luck, not because of some emergency that wiped him out, just because of how he spends. Same city, nearly double the income, zero financial security. So what's actually going on here? This isn't a story about income. It's about a habit most people never question, and the 9 rules that separate people who always have money from people who always wonder where it went. Let's get into it. Rule 1. Everything costs you twice. Before any purchase, you need to understand this. Everything you own costs you money twice. The first cost is obvious, the price tag, what you paid at checkout, done. The second cost is what nobody ever calculates, and it's often bigger than the first. Storage, maintenance, mental energy, opportunity cost, all of it adds up silently in the background. Take a treadmill. It occupies about 20 square feet of floor space. In most cities, you're paying somewhere around $30 to $50 per square foot per year just in rent for that space. That's up to $1,000 a year to store a piece of equipment that's probably become a very expensive clothes rack. Or a boat. Sounds like a one-time purchase, right? The industry standard puts annual upkeep at roughly 10% of the purchase price, so a $30,000 boat costs you $3,000 every single year, whether you take it out or not. And then there's opportunity cost. That $15,000 home gym, drop that into a basic index fund, and at historical market averages, you're looking at potentially $50,000 or more in 15 years. You didn't just buy equipment. You chose equipment over future financial freedom. So before any purchase, ask yourself, how many times will I realistically use this? Divide the price by that number. That's your cost per use. The only honest way to measure value. A $300 kitchen gadget you pull out twice a year costs $150 each time you use it. A $2,000 mattress you sleep on every single night for 10 years costs you about 55 cents a night. The math doesn't lie. Rule 2. The replacement test. Here's a quick exercise that'll change how you see everything in your home. Look around, pick up an item, and ask yourself this one question. If this broke or vanished tomorrow, would I actually go out and buy a new one? Not, could I see myself using it someday? Not, it might come in handy. Would you pull out your wallet right now and replace it? For most of what people own, the honest answer is no. That gear from a hobby you dropped 2 years ago, gone tomorrow, you wouldn't even notice. That kitchen appliance you used 3 times when you first bought it. Same thing. These things exist in your home through inertia, not because they're actually serving you. Stuff you wouldn't replace has negative value. It's costing you space, costing you mental energy, and giving you nothing back. Minimalists cut it out, sell what's worth something, donate what someone else could actually use, and trash the rest. It feels uncomfortable for about 5 minutes. After that, it just feels like relief. Rule 3. Never upgrade out of boredom. This is probably the most expensive habit most people don't even realize they have. They're not upgrading because something broke. They're upgrading because something newer exists. And the old thing started feeling boring. The phone still works perfectly, but there's a new one. The laptop handles everything they need it to, but there's a faster model now. The car is totally reliable, but this year's version has a different look. None of those are real reasons to spend money. That's just marketing doing its job. Think about phones specifically. The average person buys a new one every 2 to 3 years, usually while the old one is working fine. Over 30 years, that's somewhere between $12,000 and $18,000 in phone purchases alone, and potentially double that when you factor in what that money could have grown to if you'd invested it instead. Scale that habit across every category, and you're easily looking at 6 figures in unnecessary lifetime spending. The minimalist rule here is simple. Something is broken when it can no longer do what it's supposed to do. Boredom doesn't count. There's a newer one, doesn't count. Those aren't problems. Those are just feelings that marketers spent billions of dollars creating in your head. Rule 4. Make good decisions automatic. Most people try to fix their spending through willpower. That's why most people fail. Willpower is a limited resource. It gets weaker as the day goes on, which means by the time you're tired, hungry, or stressed, you're making your worst financial decisions at your most vulnerable moments. The smarter play is to stop relying on willpower entirely and build an environment where the right choice is just easier. On the spending side, log out of your saved payment accounts on shopping sites so there are extra steps before you can buy anything. Delete apps that make impulse buying frictionless. Turn off promotional emails completely. And commit to a simple rule. Any non-essential purchase waits 24 hours before you act on it. That last one is more powerful than it sounds. The urge to buy something specific fades fast when you sleep on it. Most of the time, you wake up the next day and you've completely forgotten about it. That one rule alone eliminates a massive chunk of impulsive spending without requiring any discipline in the moment. On the savings side, automate transfers to your investment accounts on the same day you get paid, before the money ever hits your main account. Savings that happen automatically don't require willpower because you never had to make the decision in the first place. Rule 5. Set limits and count what you own. Pick a category of stuff you own and count every single item in it. Write the number down. Most people have never done this, and the numbers usually shock them. The average person thinks they own maybe 15 or 20 shirts. They count and find 50. Same thing with shoes, kitchen gadgets, tools, books they've never read. Once you see the real number on paper, something shifts. You can't accidentally accumulate what you're actively tracking. Minimalists set hard ceilings per category, a fixed maximum they won't go over, and many use a one in, one out rule. If something new comes in, something existing has to go. That constraint alone forces a real decision every time. Instead of just adding more, you have to ask yourself what this new thing is actually worth replacing. Without limits like this, stuff just quietly fills whatever space you have. That's the default. You have to opt out of it on purpose. Rule 6. Calculate the full ecosystem cost. Here's a mistake almost everyone makes with big purchases. They price the item, not the decision. Because almost every major purchase comes with a whole ecosystem of additional costs attached to it. And those costs don't show up on the receipt. Buy a motorcycle and you're also buying riding gear, a helmet, insurance, a lock, storage space, and maintenance tools. Buy a vacation home and you're buying property taxes, utilities, upkeep, and the travel costs to actually get there. Buy a high-end camera setup and you're buying storage solutions, editing software, extra lenses, and lighting gear. The sticker price is always just the entry fee. Minimalists price the full ecosystem before committing. That $5,000 purchase you're thinking about might be a $9,000 or $12,000 decision when everything attached to it gets added up. And the flip side works too. When you get rid of one major thing, you often eliminate an entire chain of ongoing costs with it. Sell the boat and the trailer payments, storage unit, annual registration, and insurance all disappear at the same time. Rule 7. Draw your enough line before income grows. Here's why so many high earners end up with nothing to show for it. Their spending always grows slightly faster than their income. Not all at once, gradually. A nicer apartment when the raise comes through. A better car when the bonus hits. Dining out more because they can afford it now. Each individual decision seems reasonable. But the cumulative effect is that no matter how much they make, they're always just barely keeping up. The trap is never deciding what's actually sufficient, so the finish line keeps moving. The people who actually build wealth do something different. They decide in advance what their lifestyle costs, and they commit to that number even as their income grows past it. If you decide your life runs comfortably on $55,000 a year, and then you get a job paying $100,000, that $45,000 gap doesn't go to a better apartment. It goes to work. It stops being about what you earn and starts being about the distance between what you earn and what you spend. That distance is the only thing that actually builds financial freedom. And you have to draw the line yourself, intentionally, before lifestyle inflation draws it for you. Rule 8. Real wealth is the ability to say no. Most people define wealth by what they can buy: a nicer car, a bigger house, better stuff. But here's a more useful definition. Wealth is the ability to walk away. Can you turn down a job that pays well but makes you miserable? Can you take 3 months off without it destroying your finances? Can you handle an unexpected expense without going into debt? Can you make a decision based on what you actually want instead of what you can afford to do? Those options only exist for people who've built real margin between their income and their spending. The person pulling in $180,000 a year but spending $175,000 of it has almost none of those options. They need that income. They can't afford to say no to anything. The person making $70,000 and spending $42,000 has more actual freedom than almost anyone they know. They're not rich by conventional standards, but they have options, and options are the whole point. Every purchase you make is a small trade. You're exchanging money for something, but you're also exchanging a little bit of your ability to choose. The question worth asking isn't just, can I afford this? It's, is this worth less freedom? Rule 9. Declutter cyclically, not annually. The classic minimalism mistake is the annual purge. Someone decides to get their life together, spends a weekend clearing everything out, feels amazing, and then spends the next 24 months quietly accumulating right back to where they started. The purge was dramatic and obvious. The reaccumulation was slow and invisible. 2 years later, they're right back at square one, wondering what happened. The fix isn't bigger purges. It's smaller, more frequent ones. A quick scan of what came into the house this week. A focused review of one category per month. A broader check every quarter to see if anything is trending the wrong direction. 3 things out per week is more sustainable than 300 things out once a year, and it keeps you from ever getting to the point where it feels overwhelming. More importantly, regular reviews make you aware of your own patterns. You start to see which categories keep growing without you noticing, which moods make you more likely to buy stuff you don't need, which specific types of marketing actually work on you. Once you can see the pattern, you can catch it before it rebuilds, instead of only noticing after the damage is done. Here's the thing that took me a while to understand about all of this. Minimalism isn't really about owning less. It's about stopping the leak. Every dollar that goes towards stuff you don't actually use is a dollar that never got a chance to work for you, and it compounds, not in the good way. The more you own, the more you spend maintaining it, organizing it, insuring it, replacing it. The cycle feeds itself quietly in the background while you're busy wondering why your bank account never seems to move. The guy from the beginning of this video, the one making $52,000 with money in the bank and no financial stress, he's not smarter than the $95,000 guy. He's not more disciplined either. He just stopped letting his spending expand to fill his income. He drew a line and held it, and everything above that line went somewhere useful. That's available to you at whatever income level you're at right now. The only real question is whether you're running your money or your money is running you. And if you want to understand the other side of this equation, it's not just about spending less. It's about making sure the money you do save actually works for you. I broke down exactly how millionaires use a strategy called buy, borrow, die to legally pay almost no taxes on their wealth. That one's worth watching next.